welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to make a cute Lolita doll using a Watercolour. Let's start with the dress. First, we trace the pattern on the fabric of our choice. I really love this pink and white striped fabric. For the front part, we have to overlap these two pieces. But first, I decided to sew the edges of the neckline. I think that if we do it now, it makes it a little bit easier. We paint them in place and we check to see if it still fits the doll. Then we sew them. After it has to be straight and flat. Now we have to sew the back part. I always start with the shoulder part and then I continue with the sides. We try it on the doll to check that everything is the perfect size. Once we know everything's fine, we sew all the edges for a clean look. I also added some Velcro to close the piece. For the bottom part, we trace the pattern, cut it and sew the hem. We have to cut a little slit right in the middle to be able to dress the doll. Then we make a running stitch from the edge to the slit and gather it. We do this in both sides. We join the skirt with the bodice. Be sure that everything is centered. Sew the small gap in the center for a clean look. I wanted to add a Peter Pan collar and I followed one delightful video to do it. To be honest, I did it from memory and my process was a little bit different. She did it way better than I did. But at least the end result was decent, let's say that. Now the skirt. We trace the pattern, cut it and sew the hem. Then I added this ruffled strip from the bottom to the top, overlapping them a little bit. We have to do this as many times we need to fill the skirt. Sew the skirt close and then turn it inside out. I also tried it on the doll to check that everything was correct. I also added a snap in the back for closure. I made the tiny buttons with polymer clay. I cut a thin sheet using a pen cup because it was the perfect size. Make an indent with a bold tool and the little holes with a needle. Bake them and paint them pink. Once the paint dries, glue them on the dress. For the socks, we need a rectangle of thin elastic fabric. We sew the top part and we pin it tight around the leg and foot. Sew it, cut it, and turn it inside out. I used a pencil to do it because these tiny tubes can be a little bit tricky. To make a bow, we make a cylinder of fabric, and right in the middle we make a running stitch. Gather everything and loop the thread around it a couple of times. To cover the thread, we use a strip of fabric. I wanted to make a cute bunny bag for my doll. Draw the basic shape. To trace it on the fabric, we draw the ears and head separately. We sew one side of the ear on a fluffy fabric and turn it inside out. The ears were so thin that it was really difficult to do it. I needed 2 pencils. We put a piece of jewelry wire inside it. To make the head, we have to sandwich the ears between both pieces of fabric as shown. Sew everything and turn it inside out. Stuff it with a bit of brushed yarn and sew it close. Add a couple of jump rings and attach a pearl chain. I glued some rhinestones to make the face. 2 black ones for the eyes and a triangular pink one for the little nose. I made a tiny bow, using the same method as before but with a tiny fabric square. Sew it in place and glued a heart-shaped rhinestone. It's so cute, I can't believe I did it myself. The shoes are simple Monster High shoes painted pink. Now the doll itself. Cut the hair as short as possible. To remove the head, I put the doll in very hot water for a few seconds until the vinyl gets soft. Then, with the help of a towel, remove the body. Pull firmly but carefully. To get rid of the rest of the hair, I use a screwdriver and pliers. Use pure acetone to clean the face. When I work with a Draculaura, I like cutting her ears round to make her more human. I sand them a little bit to make them smooth. It's nothing special, but I really love doing it. Buff the body with nail buffers and cleanse with acetone-free nail polish remover. Then I spray it with Mr. Super Clear. It's very toxic, so wear a mask to do it. I use layers of pastels and MSC to change the skin color and shade it. Draculaura has a very light color skin tone, so you don't need many layers to do it. Reattach the head and body and cover it with tissue paper. Now we can start with the face. I start blushing it with pink pastels. Then I draw the basic shape of the eyes. Try to make everything symmetrical. Use a light color so it's easy to rub out in case you make a mistake. By the way, I'm using watercolor pencils to do it. The eyebrows have to be as symmetrical as possible too. Then I make the basic shape of the irises and the sclera. I decided to give her blue eyes, and I'm drawing them with the lightest shade of blue. Paint the nostrils to give them depth. For the mouth, I paint the gap between the lips in a darker shade to give it volume. Then the shape. I want her to have very full lips. For the rest of the layers, we repeat the same steps to saturate the colors and add some details and highlights here and there. Adding single hairs to the eyebrows make them way more realistic. My previous repaint was Quimbero, who is a villain, so she has a harsh expression. This girl is quite cuter. I usually prefer this kind of sweet and natural faces in my repaints. But I must confess that this Lolita style is new to me. I like it. By the way, I always use gloves when repainting dolls, because our hands have natural oils that can go to the doll and it can make the sealant not work very good, so the faces are less durable. When you feel all the colors are fine, add the bottom and top eyelashes. For some reason, I struggle a lot with bottom eyelashes, but I don't have that problem with the top ones. I don't know why. The last thing I always draw is the pupils. I always do them when everything else is sealed, so I can erase it if I make a mistake. If the pupils are not perfect, they can make the doll look very derpy and a little bit silly. We finish adding reflections of the eyes with acrylic paint. This part is great because it gives life to the doll. The hair is made of yarn. Tie up the yarn in a white hanger, brush it, and iron it with a flat iron in a low setting. Cut it and glue it with PVA glue on a piece of plastic. When the glue is dry, remove it from the plastic and cut the ugly edges. I decided to glue the hair directly on the doll's head. I painted a few guidelines. I started with the fringe, putting some tacky glue on the area. For this, work in layers, glue, cut and style. I use an eyebrow brush dipped in water for this. And keep repeating these same steps until you're satisfied with the volume of the fringe. Now glue the rest of the hair. As I want this doll to have pigtails, I'm only making one side. Style it and then the other. At the beginning, the idea that I have for the hairstyle was a little bit different, but it wasn't going as I planned, so I changed it. To glue the second part, be sure to do it very close to the first one, so we can see any gap between them. Keep gluing webs. Now you only have to style this second part. And our doll is finally done! What do you think about her? I think I'm going to call her Juliette. I think it fits her. I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you again very soon. Bye!